Welcome to episode number 5 of my Road to DipWSET vlog. I recently decided to analyze 12 amazing wines over 12 weeks according to the WSET systematic approach to tasting. This will help me assess the wine's quality as well as its readiness for drinking. I created the campaign to help me source the necessary funds needed for me to finance the diploma in wines through WSET. The diploma is an expert wine course which plays a pivotal part in me possibly becoming master of wine one day. I'd like to extend a massive thank you to all of you who have already made a contribution to my campaign, and to all these amazing producers who have been kind enough to sponsor the wines for these videos. Every single wine I taste over this 12-week period will be included in a mixed case of 12 which you can get your hands on. All you need to do is make a contribution towards my cause. The link that you'll need to make a contribution towards my campaign will be found across all my social media accounts. Now, for the next wine, a wine that might be unknown to some, but a wine that started turning their heads as well as tickling the taste buds to many wine experts and enthusiasts around the world. I give to you wine number 5, the Taaibosch Crescendo 2018. Taaibosch was once known as Cordoba, and Cordoba was specifically well known for their signature red, the Taaibosch Crescendo. 1995 was Cordoba's maiden vintage of the Crescendo. The wine founded instant commercial success by picking up a 5-star rating after its first release from John Platter. The farm clearly had an idea, and that idea was to produce a wine which is full of class, sophistication, power and elegance. And when I think of all these features, I think of Bordeaux. When I mention Bordeaux, I mean Bordeaux, France. Home to some of the world's most prolific chateaux, which have for centuries produced some of the best wines known to man. In South Africa, blending is more stylistic thing, where in Bordeaux, France, blending is more necessity due to massive vintage variation. The variation is brought about by natural factors such as weather being the main culprit, and this in turn brings about a disruption in quality of their production. When speaking about a Bordeaux style, we're talking about grape varietals which are synonymous with the area of Bordeaux in France. 3 of those varietals would be Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, as well as Cabernet Franc. And those 3 varietals are the varietals which made up the blend of the Crescendo back then and the Taaibosch Crescendo today. The wine was clearly a phenomenon and would go on to forging a long-lasting legacy for itself in South African winemaking folklore. Much to the sadness of the wine world, the owners of Cordoba back then shifted their attention from winemaking into just selling the grapes onto producers around the area. And this led into winemaking practices on the farm becoming dormant from 2004. Things would then take a massive turn for the better when the Otto family from France acquired the farm in 2017. The family recognized the importance and the responsibility which come with the acquisition of a legendary farm such as Cordoba, and now act as custodians to a legacy which once was, and to a legacy which is still yet to be written. The farm has implemented rigorous organic principles to the farming as well as winemaking practices, and this helps them to produce wines which are pure and also wines which are true to their sense of place. The farm will be organically certified within the next 12 months. Taaibosch means tough bush, which originates from a fynbos species grown naturally on the estate. Absolutely no wine out there has created more of a stir than the reintroduction of the Crescendo. So, enough of me, how's about we crack on with that evaluation? So now that I've tasted the wine, I can confirm that the Taaibosch Crescendo 2018 is nothing but magical. So the next time your partner tells you that the magic in your relationship has gone missing, you now know where to find it. In the Taaibosch Crescendo. Let's take a look at my notes. For the color, I gave it deep ruby. On the nose, the wine gives off a medium plus aroma intensity. I could find aromas of black cherry, cooked red plum, prunes, some jasmine, cedar, as well as cloves and just the slightest hint of eucalyptus. The slight herbaceousness on the wine is so subtle and totally unevasive. The winemaker is able to control these kinds of characteristics by a number of winemaking practices such as careful canopy management, so opening up the canopy so that more sunlight gets access to those bunches, grape sorting, and oaking of the wine, which will too help just mask those overwhelming herbaceous characteristics. Personally, I love that touch of herbaceousness. It offers youthfulness as well as nice freshness on the nose as well as the palate. I'm a massive fan of these kinds of wines, which have been produced in a manner where you can clearly pick out those individual grape varietals. The wine was showing more primary as well as secondary aromas, therefore making it a developing wine. The longer I sit with this wine, the more of a story the Crescendo really tells me. On the palate, I said that the wine is dry, carries a high acidity, has a high tannin level, and has a higher alcohol content, giving way to a full-bodied red wine. The wine carries a medium plus flavor intensity with flavors of blackberry, prunes, some licorice, as well as charred wood, tobacco, and cured meats. The wine also carries a very long as well as sophisticated and textured finish. For the assessment of quality, we use the Blick system to score the wine on its balance, its length, its intensity, as well as the complexity. From everything I've said, I'm pretty certain you know where this wine is heading. I scored a point for balance, a point for length, a point for intensity, as well as a point for complexity. Therefore, giving the Taaibosch Crescendo 2018 an overall quality assessment of outstanding. And that gives us 4 outstanding wines in a row. If I was you, I'd be rushing off to make a small donation towards my campaign so that I too could stand a chance of winning a mixed case of these amazing wines. For the readiness of drinking, I said that the wine drinks well now, but has absolute potential for further aging. I'd like to extend a massive congratulations to Skalk Willem Joubert as well as his team on recreating the Crescendo as well as fine-tuning one of South Africa's most iconic wines. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the conclusion of episode number 5. I'd also like to remind everybody that there's absolutely no standard when it comes to your enjoyment for wine. And remember, be kind and drink good wine. That's tasty.